Okay, part two of this fourth session continues. Uh, this business of having some responsibility as humans, it's key. Um, whether it's saving money or physical exercise or whatever it is, thank God that there is some predictability about life. There are some things that we know that increase the odds that things are going to work out for us. But it says his countenance fell. Um, I think this is a profound message about how it is we handle what happens to us. Whether it, whether it was just working on him or whether it was a fit of anger or whatever, um, Cain responds to this. It got the best of him. For some people, this business of how we regard others and their perceived good fortune as compared to ours, our envy about how they've got uh, this great body or these great clothes or this big house or this nice car or whatever, it can become an obsession. For some people, they can spend the rest of their lives just sort of being angry and envious, feeling second rate. God says in this story, and if you do not do well, sin is lurking at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. Again, the implication of responsibility. Um, Sin, I assume, lurks at the door of all of our hearts, but you must master it. The story continues, verse 8. Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let us go out into the field." And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" He said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it will no longer yield to you its strength. You will be a fugitive and a wanderer upon the earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. Today you have driven me away from the soil, and I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and anyone who meets me may kill me." Then the Lord said to him, "Not so. Whoever kills Cain will suffer a sevenfold vengeance." And the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who came upon him would kill him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain killed his brother. It was his problem or a situation that caused him to resort to violence. The story seems to say, look, you've got a problem, or yes, this is the situation. But it was how he dealt with it that is to be noted. Well, there's so very much else to this story. We're not going to be able to cover it. I would invite your attention a few verses later where we go through a genealogy of those who came from Cain. It sort of ends with Tubal Cain. That's the name of an individual who was the first to make instruments of war. There's a linkage between what happens between Cain and Abel and what happens in terms of war becoming a reality and spreading on the earth. Um, I want to deal, before I finish, with something I said earlier about how powerfully this story speaks on a variety of levels. Let's just notice that this is the first family. They're blood. They are kin. If we took the story for what it says, um, this is an entire generation. This is the family. And yet one kills the other. I'd like to show you something that I'll share with you. It's of personal significance to me. Um, right here is something I treasure. When I completed my doctoral studies at Drew University in New Jersey, my daughter, someone whom I love more than life itself, someone of whom I'm very proud, someone with whom I share similar convictions and a similar spirit. I'm proud of her interfaith relations with people in different faith traditions. But she and I were talking. She wanted to give me a special gift, and so she commissioned this stole. And we talked about it, and I thanked her. I treasure this because it's a commission piece. It's the only one in the world like it. And it is intended to speak and symbolize a hope. As I mentioned a moment ago, we Christians, we trace ourselves back through Jesus to Abraham. He is called the father of our faith. So do Jews, and so do Muslims. So it's right to say that we are all children of Abraham. And yet, consider the violence, the anti-Semitism, the hatred, the continuing strife between these branches of what was originally one family. The stole speaks of a hope, a symbol of three learning from one, maybe a dream about one day when we will all recognize that we are learning from one God. Some people say they've got a different God. The classic definition of God, philosophically, is the one than which nothing greater can be conceived. Whether you're talking about a being or a thing, an entity, that than which nothing greater can be conceived. And they worship the ultimate idea or concept or being as we do. They have different understandings as we do from them. A dream of three faiths encircling one planet. The dove of peace. The Holy Land of Israel, sacred to Jews, Muslims, and Christians. You see the sheaves of wheat, the ancient symbol of life and of food. The river, another ancient symbol of life and that which is necessary, and what God gives to us, symbolized by water. The grapes, symbolic not only in the holy festivals of Judaism and of Islam, but also of Christianity at the Lord's Supper. And finally, the three dancing together. On the other side, again, together. This is the other side of the holy city. The three underneath the tree of life, or the tree of learning. You see the book? See how they're studying, learning together. And finally, sharing the sustenance of the earth. The harvest, the symbols of harvest, and all of us have harvest festivals that are part of our individual faith traditions. This matter of responsibility. We misunderstand one another. I think you like them better than us. I know what I'll do. We'll get rid of them. If you do well, will you not be accepted? We as individuals and societies and nations are so often like this. God says, where's your brother? Where's your family? Where's your sister? Cain in this story says, how should I know? It's not my fault. Don't blame me. Don't look at me. This applies to even larger realms of study and influence and reality. So many of us think, there's nothing we can do. It's out of my control. Really? Well, the national debt, how can I do anything about that? Hey, don't look at me. The divorce rate, homicide or crime rate, drug abuse, mental illness and how it's addressed. Hey, how should I know? I don't know. But in reality, the story says, you're the one that's guilty of these realities. Like Adam and Eve in the garden, let's not forget that when they were confronted with what they had done, blame and buck passing was a part of the story. Adam said, wasn't me. Hey, it was the woman you gave to me. The woman says, how can I be blamed? It was this snake that you made. The story of Cain and Abel is profound. It's deep. I invite you to think about it. Let it work on you. Let me know what you think. I'd appreciate your insights as well. Next week, we will turn to the story of Noah and the flood. It's an amazing story. It's beautiful, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much. Goodbye for now, and thank you for watching.